So this is what's on my iPhone 14 Pro. I don't have a case to cover my phone or even a screen protector because I like how it feels in the hands as well as the color and the design. So I wouldn't really want to get a case just to cover all these up. Like the phone by itself, it just looks very good. Currently I have rotating wallpapers. Whenever I tap on the screen, it'll rotate the wallpaper. And the widget I keep on there is very simple. The left one is sunset and sunrise. I have no idea why I said it backwards. And the next one is a simple temperature widget, followed by chance of rain. And the very last one I have UV index. I used to have a whole bunch of different camera apps for camera, but now I just use the built-in camera by itself. And I really like how I can just exit on the bottom right corner. And once we get into the main page, you can see that the camera app is still at the bottom right corner. This way I can always access and find the app effortlessly. I have different apps and home screen depending on which focus mode that I'm in. Whenever I don't have the focus mode on, I have two main pages as well as a widget page. And as you see, the bottom four apps are pretty much the most common app that I go to all the time on my phone, and this is the Photos app, not a very big surprise there, followed by the Notion app, which I use pretty much every day. That's where I spend most of the time for work and organizing videos like this. I also take a lot of notes on there, and it's always down there so I can access it whenever I have a video idea or if there's something I want to jot down really quickly. And on the very left I have iMessage, and these four apps at the bottom are what I use most often every single day. Now on the main page I have weather and followed by like different time zones because I have family in all these different cities, as well as Spotify. That's where I can access different music or podcasts from where I left off. And essentially I find this to be an easier way to use Spotify because I can see which podcast I haven't finished. And if I was listening to music, I can just access the different podcasts I have up here and then head into the podcast right away instead of fumbling around on a music page and trying to find the podcast that I was listening to previously. Which is why I added this widget on top over here to kind of like mitigate the problem I have there. However, I have been trying out Apple Music and the Apple Podcast because they have like two different apps by itself individually, which is also very useful and functional in my opinion. And I know it's kind of redundant to have like Spotify and Apple Music, Apple Podcasts all in the front page, but at this moment I'm just trying out different ones to see which one I like best. I've been trying both of them for like a month now, and I do like the user interface on Spotify a bit more compared to Apple Music. However, having a different app for podcast is definitely a plus where I can just click into the app by itself without thinking about like I have to go find the podcast that I haven't finished yet. The last app I have here is just Venmo, which I find it very useful whenever you go out and eat with friends. I can either pay first and then I can just Venmo me back with just the QR code. On the right side of the calendars widget I have phone, which I barely use anymore. It's mostly just scam calls now, and I really don't like to get on a phone call, like a phone meeting, unless I really have to, because usually a phone meeting or a phone call lasts way longer than you expect, which takes a lot of time out of your day. So I've been avoiding a lot of phone meetings and try to substitute that with other ways of communication. Then I have Adobe Lightroom, which is pretty much self-explanatory for a photographer. That's where I edit most of my phone photos at, as well as some of the works that I do for clients. And then I have Discord up here. I usually just use Discord for like games, but now I put it here because of this place called Midjourney, where essentially you can type in different commands and the AI will generate 4 different photos from your input. It has been really fun to play on Discord because the photos that comes out of it, it's superb, and the quality, how it renders photos, just mind-blowing what AI can do nowadays. And down here we have the basic social media stuff like Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, as well as Vero. I find to be an amazing photo sharing app, and there are tons of amazing, incredible photographers on there. If you like taking photos, definitely check Vero out. You'll not be disappointed. And then on the left bottom corner we have YouTube, YouTube Studio. Line is a message app that I used a long time ago. I actually don't use as often, but I do have a couple friends on there. I feel like most of the apps now have like their own messaging system, and I find it a bit frustrating to have so many different messaging apps on my phone. And even within social media apps, they have messaging system on their own. It's just a bit of a chaotic situation like here and there. Now moving on to the next page, I pretty much have all of the investing apps on the second page. The biggest widget I have here is just to see like a general direction where the market is going, and it's been going south pretty much every day now, so I tend not to look at the second page. I'm actually considering deleting the second page altogether. But usually in the morning I'll take a peek at the market, and that's pretty much it. Now to the widget page, I have Brave as my browser, and this is where I can search anything, any questions I have. And on the second widget I have battery indication followed by fitness chart. And then at the bottom of the widget page I have Apple News and Google News. Again, I'm testing both of these out to see which I like best. So that was the default pages that I have on my iPhone 14 Pro. If we go to focus mode, I have Do Not Disturb, Work, Sleep, and Gaming. It's actually very fun and incredibly useful to set different focus mode up. For example, the very first one, Do Not Disturb. This is what I use all the time during the morning whenever I meditate, or if I'm going to a meditation class, I'll turn this on. And essentially what I have here is nothing. I have like a blank wallpaper, a black wallpaper, and then just the clock where I can go in and set a timer for my meditation session, where it usually lasts around like 30 to 45 minutes. And if we go into the settings, we can actually choose who is allowed to contact you whenever you have Do Not Disturb mode on, as well as the different apps that can give you notifications on your phone. And what I really like about this is where you can customize your screen, which is what I showed you before, from the lock screen to home screen, where I have just a simple plain wallpaper. And you can edit the different apps that shows up on your home screen as well. And if you have an Apple Watch like me, you can also change the watch face accordingly, depending on the different focus mode that you're in. Now here's what I have for work in focus mode. The top two widgets I have are calendar and reminder. I used to use the third-party apps for like calendar as well as reminders, but then I actually find the built-in calendar and reminder app on the iPhone quite useful, and it looks pretty good as well. And then followed by the different apps that I use most of the time whenever I'm working. And as you can tell, most of the messaging apps are gone, as well as social medias, because I do not want to have access to them at all whenever I'm working. And by not having these apps on my home page saves a ton of time, so I don't have to be distracted on my phone and just like muscle memory, I'm gonna click into TikTok and then just keep on scrolling for hours. That's also why I would highly recommend organizing your apps in different focus modes. Just get rid of the apps that distract you the most. Now let's move on to gaming mode. I love playing games on my phone, especially arena games like Arena of Valor as well as the Pokemon Unite. That's probably what I play the most nowadays on my phone. So the biggest widget I have up here is of course the battery life of every single device I have. And then I have the clock widgets with different time zones. This way it's easier for me to coordinate with my friends whenever we want to play games together online. Again, like any other focus mode on your iPhone, you can go into settings and then adjust who can contact you while you're in the gaming focus mode. And obviously I have chosen only the people who I play games with that can contact me directly whenever I'm in gaming mode. This way I don't have any other distractions and notifications that just dropping down whenever I'm playing my game, which could be very annoying and impair my performance. Personally, I find focus mode to be extremely helpful. By not having certain apps on my phone really mitigates the distraction and allow me to focus on things that I'm supposed to be focused on. And if you do have a set routine for certain days, you can actually add different schedules on here, where you can set the focus mode to switch automatically during the time period or even location. That way, whenever you go to your office, it'll switch to work mode automatically for you.